Hello everybody and welcome to another Everton Show. We've got another jam-packed programme for you this week as we review a terrific win against Aston Villa at Goodison Park, and we look ahead to the trip down south to Bournemouth and the journey up north to Middlesbrough, and all in the company of the skipper. A very warm welcome to the Everton Show, Jags. The first and most obvious question, how are you?
Not too bad, getting there. Thankfully I've had the brace taken off now, so I'm in the gym with full movements, and it's just all about sort of getting the muscle mass back and making sure my knee's okay and try and get back into this team.
It's all about setting yourself little targets, like getting the brace off and then moving it on a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not the most patient of person when I'm not injured, so throw a brace on me and I become a little bit moodier than ever. So I think the lads are happier that I've got the brace off as well around the place. But no, there's little goals. Obviously, I'm at sort of 4.5, 5 weeks now. I'll go and see the knee specialist. He gives me the thumbs up, then I can kick on and hopefully the next couple of weeks get outside, even though it is a little bit cold and wet at the moment. I'm desperate to get out there and speed up my recovery.
But you've got to be patient, haven't you? Got to do as you're told. That I'd like to see, by the way. Well, plenty more from Jags later in this week's Everton Show, and he'll be joined by this lot.
Yeah, we've got the attacking threats of Ram and Jerry and Aruna on the counter attacks and with open play, but we've got that security as well from the defence, as well as Gazbarri and James McCarthy. So today was a great all-round performance.
Delivering that social benefit, that economic benefit, we've got a track record of doing that, albeit around Goodison in the city, but we know we can make a real difference.
Little Jerry, everyone seems to call him Little Jerry. He's in fantastic form at the moment. He's the one player you would buy a ticket to come and watch.
Yeah, I think it's a nice city, very calm, so just a little bit cloudy and rainy, but
I think when you talk about getting to a final, a trophy, I think it's a really good chance. I mean, if you ask me, will Everton win up there? I think we've got a really good chance.
The boys have done well though, Jags, haven't they, the last few weeks?
Yeah, definitely. We've talked about trying to get some momentum going, especially just before the Christmas period, and 10 goals, 11 goals in sort of 3 games, including the West Ham game, is fantastic. Obviously, we'd have loved to have picked up a win at West Ham, but I think the return's been decent, and we've got a nice run of fixtures now where we want to get stuck in and hopefully get the momentum going.
It's a big week, isn't it? We'll talk a lot more about Bournemouth and Middlesbrough later in the show, but there's no two ways about it. This is a big week for Everton.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, our league position is pretty good at the moment. We can make it that little bit more special with a win on Saturday, and as we all know, we want to go as far as we can in this cup. We've made it quite difficult for ourselves so far with coming behind and penalty shootouts and things like that. But fair play to the boys. We've proved that we want to go as far as we can, and it's going to be a tough tie away at Middlesbrough.
You mentioned there that we're in a good league position. That was always the aim from the start of the season, because the opening 10 fixtures were tough, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely. We knew when the fixtures came out it was going to be a difficult start. Especially after the start we had last season as well, where the pressure would be on for us to come out of the blocks a bit better. There's games where we felt we could have done better, but the points tally that we've got for this stage is more than sufficient, and hopefully, like you say, with all these games coming up over the Christmas period, we can get the points in the bag and stay at the top end of the table. Certainly
given ourselves a platform to work from, haven't we? Well, Saturday's 4-0 demolition of Aston Villa took the Blues' Goodison Park tally to 10 goals from the last 2 games, and all from open play, don't forget. The Evertonians are thoroughly enjoying watching their team perform at home, and so is the manager. This is Roberto's assessment of that latest victory.
Well, I think it's always a very good sign when you can keep a clean sheet, and obviously you can score 4 goals but create a real threat in everything that we did. I thought the performance was perfect in everything that we wanted. It was a really tricky game, because when you come back from an international break where you got 14-15 players that they've gone away, it's always a worry how you're gonna start your performance. I thought we had a very tricky challenge in terms of having an Aston Villa side that they were very well organised. They were quite happy to sit deep and give us the ball, and that can become very frustrating, and at times that frustration can creep into the crowd, and I think we never allowed that. I thought what we did off the ball today, we were terrific in the way that we worked for each other, the way that we got the ball back quickly, and then the goals. We made it look some of those goals look like very, very easy, and it's the hardest thing in football when you got the ball and have to break a team down. It was pleasing to see the understanding between the players, the quality in our actions, and overall it was a complete performance and a performance that he gave us 3 very, very important points.
We are very much a team that looks like we've got goals in us at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, last season when we were struggling a little bit and we had game after game, and you know, you get that feeling when you come into a game and you're not sure who's going to get the goal and are we going to create enough chances, and obviously that puts a little bit more pressure on the defence. So it's nice that obviously when you throw the players out like Jerry, Ross, Rom, Haruna, you know, Nazy, all these people, you know, a couple of hat-tricks in there as well, is always nice. It's nice to know that we've got goals in us, and it must be a scary prospect, you know, to come up against us when we're sort of playing the football we're playing with, obviously the extra bit at the end where, you know, the assist is right, the finish is right, and obviously that's why we've scored so many goals recently. Still
a young man, but Big Rom really looks the part now, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. It was a difficult season for us all last year, and obviously Rom was bought permanently, and people were expecting big things, and you know, we probably didn't supply him with the best ammunition and things like that, but you know, he shrugged it off. Started the season really well, and you can tell, you know, the massive smile on his face and his goals.
50 goals in the Premier League before the age of 23, that takes some doing. Well, how about this for an encouraging statistic? Ross Barkley wanted to add more goals to his ever-increasing repertoire, and the boy's just done that. The brace he knocked in against Aston Villa were his 4th and 5th goals in 13 Premier League games this season, compared to just 8 in his previous 76. And with the form that Ross is in, there are clearly more to come. Here's Ross Barkley's assessment of that win against Villa and his own 2-goal contribution.
Yeah, overall it was a great all-round team performance. We kept a clean sheet defensively. We were brilliant today, and we got 4 goals from open play, which is great.
And obviously 2 goals for yourself. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, getting 2 goals today was a bonus, but the main thing today was to get the 3 points, which we did do.
You must feel the way we were attacking that you can score goals in any game.
Yeah, we've got the attacking threats of Rom and Jerry and Haruna on the counter attacks and with open play, but we've got that security as well from the defence, as well as Gaz Barry and James McCarthy. So today was a great all-round performance.
It's not just 1 or 2 attacking players are playing well. Almost everyone is, aren't they? Jerry, Rom, yourself.
Yeah, the whole team's playing with confidence, and it's great to see as well on the pitch. We're all feeling confident, all wanting the ball.
It's not just a club level, Jags, is it, with Ross? He's now looking very much an England international footballer. You'd know that as well as anyone.
Yeah, when obviously he came through into the international setup, everyone was excited, but at the same extent, he wasn't really going to get much game time over the course of the last 6-8 months. He's started a lot of games, he's progressed, and thankfully he scored. I don't think you'd have got much money for him scoring a header for his first international goal, but you know, I was delighted to be there and be part of it. But you can just tell he's playing with a smile on his face, his confidence is there. He will make mistakes, that's the type of player he is. But thankfully when he's on song, and you know, it's fantastic for him to probably not have the busiest of games against Aston Villa, but as we've keep saying him, you know, find the box, get in the box, score the goals, and 2 pretty much tap-ins, but you know, they all count.
Very much an international footballer, as we say. Well, while Ross Barkley, big Romelu Lukaku, Jerry and Haruna are knocking them in at the top end, we still need the lads at the back to keep them out. Not the easiest of tasks, especially in the continued absence of this fellow. But that particular cause is being helped by the excellent current form of Seamus Coleman. The Irishman has got a European Championship spring in his step just now, and he was delighted with the 3 points Everton got against Villa.
We started off very well, and the lads were quite lethal in front of goal, and I suppose coming back from international break, it was important to start on the front foot in front of the home fans, and we done that, and then we kicked on from there.
Just how important was it to get that early goal?
Yeah, it was so important. It's always very important to get the first goal in the Premier League, and it gave us the confidence to go on and score more, and thankfully, you know, as I said, the lads were quite dangerous in front of goal, and you know, it could have even been more.
Ross Barkley back amongst the goals, he was pleased, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was great for Ross. I think that's his first time scoring 2 goals in a game, so I know he'll be happy with that. And you know, it's just about Ross now, keep developing and going from strength to strength, and I'm sure he'll do that.
A welcome clean sheet as well?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, as defenders, that's what you want first and foremost. And you know, when you go 4-0 up, it might be very easy to switch off, but it was in the back of our mind to keep tight at all times, because it's very important to get off with a clean sheet.
And just how tough is it to stay on the same level as Gerard Deulofeu at the moment?
Yeah, he's hard work for who he's playing against. He's very dangerous when he gets the ball at his feet, and you know, people are starting to stand off him now a little bit, and he's putting crosses in, and if they get tight, then he's getting at them. So no, he's a top player, and we're very lucky to have him.
Speaking to Seamus the other night, weren't we, at the Hilton, Jags, and he loves the 60 grand Seamus Coleman. Has there ever been a better 60 grand spent?
Not at all, no. I think he has to love the song. You know, we all wind him up at the training ground. Jerry, a few of the foreign lads obviously get onto it quite quickly and start singing it to him in the changing room. So, but like I say, £60,000. Not only have you got a fantastic player, but what a great guy he is as well. Great ambassador for the club. He's grown into his role, and he's someone that's always obviously got a massive smile on his face, loves playing football, and a perfect Evertonian.
And you could play against him and James McCarthy and the others in the Euros next summer. Yeah,
well, the draw comes out soon enough. We'll find out exactly who we get. We've had a little practice of that, like a friendly game, obviously, both at Wembley and at their place. So it'd be interesting. There's a few options of playing against them. Obviously, Northern Ireland, Wales. It's going to be an exciting time to get the draw, but I've got to try and get myself in that squad before I can think about stuff like that.
That'll be a gimme, that, once you're fit. And that's just about it for part one of this week's Everton show. There's loads more to come from Phil Jagielka after the break, though. We'll also hear from our chief executive, Robert Elston, and our under-21s coach, David Unsworth. Welcome back to part two of the Everton show. This is the section of the programme when we traditionally get under the skin of the football club, and if my studio guest this week is our on-the-field leader, our next guest is the man tasked with leading from the front off the pitch. Everton's general meeting took place on Monday evening, and this is Robert Elston speaking about the issue of a potential site for a new stadium.
The stadium is a really challenging project, but it's a fantastic project. It's something that gets us really excited. It did at day one and it still does. But it's challenging, and as the shareholders saw tonight, in my view, there has only been one stadium built in the last 15 years, greater than 50,000, that's been built really through a very simple funding model, which is Emirates, and two other stadia, the Etihad and West Ham moving into Olympic Stadium, are very different deals. So that really was presented to show the fans and the shareholders the challenge that we face. Now, the only way to overcome that challenge is to form partnerships, and actually partnerships that reflect what other stakeholders want to get out or could get out of a particular project. And that's why we've developed a scheme that can regenerate and transform North Liverpool. And that's, I think it's easy to sort of throw that line as a glib statement, but again, I don't think any other club can potentially live up to that better than Everton. So delivering that social benefit, that economic benefit, we've got a track record of doing that, albeit around Goodison in the city, but we know we can make a real difference, and really the step forward is to convince our partners that we can do that.
Jags, there's nothing quite like Goodison Park when it's bouncing, is it? It literally shakes, doesn't it? You must feel it on the pitch.
Yeah, it's a place where you want to play. These new stadiums are really nice, and the facilities and all sorts. But I think when you get to an old atmosphere, and obviously with the fans behind us, and we're doing really well, it's a totally different environment. But football moves on, and you've always got the question of what do we do next, and financially and things like that. And we understand that for the club to progress and kick on back to the level where we want it to be, potentially Goodison can't fulfil those sort of needs. So it's a difficult one. I know I speak to a lot of fans and they don't want to leave, and a few fans do want to leave. It's just basically, things like this. We'll have to just wait and see what happens.
It is a special place. Just give us some sort of idea what it's like to be in that tunnel when you hear the drum roll, isn't it? Right at the start of Z cars. What's it like there? When you're at the head of the queue,
I was about to say, I'm fortunate enough to be the first one to come out. It's quite amusing. Obviously, you come out from the steps. First and foremost, make sure you don't trip. They're quite old, those steps there. But come out and you do get the goosebumps, goose pimples, and you go and look obviously for the ball girl or ball boy, and clap the fans. But like you say, the atmosphere and the initial buzz of leading the team out is something I'm really proud to do. It does feel weird when I see someone else do it, but at the moment there's not much I can do about that. But I say it's a fantastic feeling, and I'm sure if things do go forward with the club, we would eventually get some sort of similar buzz at another place. But like you say, Goodison is a very special place.
Goodison is fantastic when the atmosphere is bouncing, but what about the away fans, particularly in the Capital One Cup this season? the away following has been unbelievable.
Yeah, it's something. I got asked a similar question the other day, and without me sounding arrogant or expective, it's something that we go and expect. We do fill places. We have some fantastic support. We've had the support at West Ham was great as well. You know, it's something we come to expect. Evertonians love watching us play. They love the day out and all sorts. And at the moment, things are going quite well, and I'm sure they're quite happy to travel all over the place.
Well, the away end at Bournemouth will be packed, that's for sure. Well, as well as cruising to a comfortable victory against Aston Villa last weekend at Goodison Park, Everton also celebrated our Retro Day. We often theme our home games to make them a little bit more entertaining for the supporters, and Retro Day is traditionally a very popular afternoon. We celebrated the 1980s against Aston Villa, and I think it's safe to say that we just about got it right. Here's a recap of what happened on a memorable afternoon. Jags, we celebrated the 1980s on Saturday against Aston Villa, Retro Day, which the back end of the 80s you might just remember.
Yeah, just about. There's quite a few lads in the squad that obviously weren't born in that time, but no, we like doing the different things for the home games. The Retro Day was good. It also gives us a bit of ammunition for the old boys that still hang around, the pictures and the shorts and things like that. So
looks well there, Snods, though.
Yeah,
he?
well, yeah, he's got a bit of a hammering. He enjoys it though, to be honest. But we've all had crazy haircuts, or in this case, moustaches and things back in the day. But no, it's nice that we obviously mix things up, and it's good to show the younger fans some of the older players.
Some good players on that programme cover, Jags, isn't there?
Yeah, tremendous. Obviously, there was fantastic times in that era. We brought a similar kit out, obviously, to the one that Peter Reid's wearing not so long ago and stuff like that. So it's nice to educate the younger fans and even give the older fans a little bit of a reminiscing.
Did you collect the stickers yourself when you were a kid?
A little bit, yeah, but like I say, I was probably more bothered about going out playing football than reading about it or collecting the stickers. But obviously, that's the thing that quite a few of the young lads do these days.
What footballers did you enjoy watching when you were a kid?
It was difficult. I said there was no one particularly stood out. You know, I was born in Manchester, obviously Man U, the Robsons and people like that. But I've often said it was my brother. You know, I just wanted to watch him. You know, I went to his training sessions, sort of ball boyed round. You know, I sort of just wanted to follow in his footsteps. So he was my biggest idol growing up. Then obviously as an age where you then end up playing yourself at the weekends and stuff like that, and you get your own mates, and say before you know it, I'm 33, captain of Everton, and there's people telling me I've not got long left. So, you know, time flies, but it's fantastic to celebrate stuff. You know, like Retro Day, and like I say, give a little bit of stick to the older lads.
Well, that was Retro Day, and from a blast from the past to a blast to the future, the Everton under-21s were in European action last Sunday afternoon when they played Portuguese outfit FC Porto in their latest fixture in the Premier League International Under-21 tournament. It was a fine game at Goodison Park, but FC Porto edged it by the odd goal in 5 on an afternoon that also saw Leighton, Baines, Mo Bezic and Tony Hibbert return to action after injury.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about them learning from Leighton, from Tony Hibbert, from Mo. You know, these are experienced international footballers who've played Premiership and international football for a very long time. And at the same time, they still have to play their own game. You're learning all the time, and it's a case of playing alongside them, but still imposing their own game with the team. And I felt some of our younger players in the first half didn't really do that. We couldn't really get them on the ball, and we couldn't really impose our game to them. Second half, no problems, absolutely terrific. But we need to be able to play for 90 minutes and for them to play on the front foot for 90 minutes.
And we seen yesterday that David Hanan netted at Fleetwood and Ryan on his debut man of the match. That must please you, the reports coming back from yesterday.
Yeah, I spoke to David yesterday. He was delighted. That's 2 terrific games he's had now. His first 2 games for Fleetwood, getting the goal as well, which is a bonus, which is his job. Conor Grant played at Doncaster. Ryan Letson played as well. So that's the big moments for us. That's why they're out on loan, to play games, to play for 90 minutes in front of crowds, to learn, to keep learning and to aid their development. And yeah, delighted when I saw that yesterday, and long may that continue.
And it looked like Courtney and Baines went off with a few problems. Is there anything, no update there, or just too early to tell?
Baines was always going to play 45 minutes. Mo was going to play 70 minutes, and he just got a little whack before the hour mark, so we didn't want to take any risks. So no problems there. But yeah, everybody's okay.
How good is it to see Leighton Baines back out on the football pitch, by the way?
Yeah, massive. You forget how long he's not played for. He had unfortunately, he made the decision to obviously have the operation on his ankle, and then, pretty much back ready to play again, and a bit of a mishap in training, and he had to start from scratch again. So mentally, it's tough to get over those sort of breaks. But he's there now. He's just trying to find his feet, with playing, the football side of it now. His fitness levels are up there. He's a very hard-working lad. He's been very professional since he's been injured, but he's just getting those minutes in on the pitch. But I said the boys have done really well in his absence, but pretty much our best player for the last 4 or 5 years. Obviously, we've missed him.
What about this guy? You and Unzi go back a long way, don't you?
Yeah, Dave. I obviously played with him at Sheffield, then he went to Wigan and moved. Obviously, came back, took control of the 21s. Great guy, and it's what the club's about. I knew a lot about him being, one of the fans' favourites at Everton. You watch the old footage and the videos, and he always pops up, whether he's scoring a goal, taking a penalty, or obviously we're crunching tackles. So the fans love him, truly so, and it's nice that he's come back to sort of his spiritual home, shall we say, and he's doing a fantastic job motivating the young lads.
He also knows when to send the young lads out on loan. Himself and Joe Royle work very hard on that. David Hanan at Fleetwood. I thought that would be a bit of a culture shock for the boy, but by all accounts, Jags, he's done well.
Well, you spoke about the 2 lads, the 2 guys, should I say, that are in charge, Joe, and Dave, 2 fantastic people to be in control of sort of the 21's future, and, like I say, choosing the right moments, not only for them, but for the development of the rest of the squad as well. You can't just totally send everyone out and then, have no players to train, no players to play the games, and ruin their sort of development. It's all about the whole unit itself, and like you said, it's a perfect fit when you send someone out there. You're never 100% sure whether it will come off for them or not, but when someone starts really well and gets those minutes under the belt, it's fantastic for the experience.
The development of the young players is certainly in safe hands down at Finch Farm. And we've reached the halfway point of this week's Everton Show. Coming up after this short break, we'll bring you our big interview section, and it goes without saying that our focus this week will be on the life and times of Phil Jagielka, so don't go away. Welcome back to part 3 of this week's Everton Show. It's time now for our big interview, and this week we'll be learning a little bit more about the Everton captain. The injury that Jags picked up against Arsenal a few weeks ago has left him on 305 Everton appearances, 33rd in the all-time list, 3 behind Adrian Heath. There's plenty more games in him though, that's for sure, so let's learn a little bit more about him. Jags, you were saying there before you used to go out and play football in the street. I always like asking professional footballers, when did you realise that you had something about you? When did you realise that you were a little bit better than the other kids?
It's a difficult one. I was always quite small. I was an August birthday, so sort of a late developer. In the year, I was quite quick, quite athletic, but sort of played many sports. Played tennis. Ran around at school. It was just something that progressed when sort of you got the ball. I was quick enough to get past people and sort of kick it in the goal. So it just sort of worked. Then obviously as you get older, you have to try and find positions, and you play part of successful teams. We had a pretty decent school team and things like that. And I say before you know it, you get scouted. Funnily enough, I went to sort of a Stoke feeder team, and then I came here. Things didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. Got an opportunity, obviously, to go to Sheffield United, and found it really a perfect fit for me. Moved away from home and sort of dedicated sort of your life to football. Played sort of there for 6, 7, 8 years, and unfortunately got relegated, and then got a phone call to sort of ask me if I'd come back to here. Then 8 years later, I'm still here. Yeah.
But just going back to the jumpers for goalposts era, you're saying you were an August baby, so you weren't a centre half straight away then?
Not at all, no. It was more traffic cones for goals rather than jumpers for goalposts.
The posh area.
Yeah, well, but no, I was just played up front, played in midfield, played a lot of midfield up to the age of 17, 18. I think the first time I played properly in defence, we had a Youth Cup game against Arsenal, and our 2 centre halves were actually sort of first year pros and too old to play in the Youth Cup, and we had to have a look round, and Muggins here got the choice to play centre half. We did pretty well, unfortunately lost, but then sort of round about the reserve team and the first team sort of played midfield, centre half, right back, just sort of any position you could get. Then got a few games in midfield, a few games in defence, went back to play midfield for a season or two, then came up to the Premier League, and I think that was a decision that Neil Warnock made, that I was then going to be a centre half, and pretty much played there for the rest of their career.
What do you recall of your first set of Everton days when you were at the academy before being released?
Well, it wasn't at Finch Farm, it wasn't the academy, obviously it was at Belfield. Great times, really. You used to come, they had obviously state-of-the-art facilities back then, and everything was really close, and I really enjoyed my nights. I used to train with my age group, sometimes stay behind and watch, or possibly join in the age group above. And just really enjoy being part of it. It was heartbreaking when you get the news that for whatever reason I wasn't going to be asked to stay on, and it was a case of what do I do now. I went to Man City on trial, obviously quite local. One of the Everton sort of chief scouts went there, but confidence was rock bottom. I was probably the worst player there. Blaming the boots I had, blaming anything I could.
Did you feel like giving up?
No, never giving up. Just from being so sort of confident and just not thinking, too far ahead and what's the next stage, to being told, and then you're thinking, well, I'm leaving school soon, and this is when you need to sort of become a footballer, to realising, well, things aren't going quite as smooth sailing as you expect. And then I obviously went to Sheffield United and took a sort of 2-3 days off school, went and stayed there and trained with the YTS, which was an experience, because obviously younger again than those lads, some of them 2-3 years older than me, and let's say they didn't hold and didn't take any prisoners in training and things like that. But you have to learn to live with that. I enjoyed it. Played a couple of trial matches and eventually got a 3-year scholarship. Great. Did a little bit of schoolwork. Trained. Eventually got to play in the reserves, and then thankfully enough, got a 3-year professional contract. Things have gone pretty well since, and I'm 33 now and. I'm still enjoying it.
And 33rd on the Everton all-time list.
There you go, yeah, all those threes, yeah.
What do you recall of your professional debut for the Blades?
I think I came on at right back and basically just ran up and down the line for 10 minutes and I couldn't breathe. So excited.
Who was it against?
Nerves. It was against Swindon at home. So it was last game of the season I think it was a 99 season. Strange, just a bit of a blur, to be perfectly honest. Then in and around the team for the next season, but didn't get too many opportunities. Then I think the season afterwards is when I started and played pretty much every game up to the time I left.
You've mentioned that you played up front once or twice, right back, left back, centre half. Tell us about the time you played in goal.
I've actually played in, I think it's 4 times now, and I think we've had 3 wins, so it's been a pretty successful time. Most of the times 30 minutes has been the least amount of time I've been in for. There's been an hour, and I think an hour, about 65 minutes, half a game, and then half an hour. So
Arsenal was the famous
one.
I
think that's the one everyone talks about. Funnily enough, it was back in the day. There's only 5 subs, so I think previous to that there was only 3 subs. So Neil Warnock had a mentality that he'd, rather than wasting a space for a goalkeeper, he'd much rather have that attacking option for the 99% of the time you wouldn't need a goalkeeper. He'd rather have that extra option on the bench, to bring on and potentially win the game. So I trained with the keepers, did a little bit of handling and things, because when I was a young lad, obviously with my older brother, I'd go in goal and try and make sure he couldn't score past me as a sort of an ego thing. So it was something I grew up with. But like I said, the Arsenal game, Paddy tweaked his groin and I asked him, he said, nah, I'm fine. He took a goal kick and then sat down and I looked round and I thought, here we go. It was 1-0 at the time, and you're excited playing the game, and next thing you know, I'm changing shirts with him, I'm going in goal, and it's a really nervous time because you're not scared about people, put one in the top corner past you or, taking you on. It's the ones that the P-roll towards you and you don't want them to bounce over your shoulder or you come out for something and drop it. So I was quite safe, come out, caught a few balls, punched a few, had a save or two, and thankfully we won 1-0, and like I say, a lot of people still talk about it.
Neil Warnock divides opinion, doesn't he? I'm sure you can understand that.
Yeah, but for me, if you're going to turn on to an interview after a game or watch someone do something, he's definitely worth watching. I've obviously got a soft spot for him. He gave me a chance in a career, and I'll always be grateful for that. So, like I say, I can understand why he does, but for me, he's a great guy.
It's a great club, isn't it, Sheffield United?
Yeah, both Sheffield teams are massive, and it's a shame where they are at the moment. It'd be great if one of them, if not both of them, could come back to the Premier League, and people of Sheffield are really proud football fans, and hopefully they can have a pretty decent season this year, potentially get into the playoffs or automatic promotion and go back to the Championship. Sheffield
Wednesday in the Capital One Cup final. That'll do us, won't it? More to come from Jags in a little bit, but him, just like Leighton Baines did recently, has used his time out injured to put in a right good shift for the football club away from the field of play. Radio shows, meet and greet sessions with the fans, this TV show, of course. And on Tuesday night, Jags joined Seamus Coleman and Gerard Deulofeu at the Hilton Hotel for an audience with event that was a huge success.
It's a great event for the fans, the opportunity to ask the boys questions. Obviously Seamus, Jags and Gerard Deulofeu, obviously who started the season very well. So it'll be an interesting night. I'm sure they'll get a few questions from the floor as well. So it'll be an interesting one, but it's something to give the fans. The fans turn up in the numbers home and away, and this is just a little extra for them, and hopefully they enjoy the evening.
Welcome to our special audience with Phil Jagielka, Seamus Coleman and Gerard Deulofeu.
I think especially with the talent that we have, Jerry coming back was massive for us. I think Rom is forever improving. John Stones at the back he's a special talent, very special talent, and you've got Ross as well, and then you've got Jags and them lads looking after us, Baines, Ozzy. So it's a very special dressing room, and we've got a very good manager, and it's about time that we brought a trophy back.
I'm so happy for staying here another time. When I stay here the first time, I love Everton, and now come back, and I hope staying here a lot of years.
Going forward, we've got a few people on fire at the moment. Obviously, the people getting most of the goals, Rom, Ross, Aruna, but little Jerry. Everyone seems to call him Little Jerry. He's in fantastic form at the moment. He's the one player you would, buy a ticket to come and watch. He's just, getting a lot of assists in at the moment. Told him he had to score the other week, and like a good boy, he decided to score the first goal. So he's listening to his captain. So everything's going well, but it's nice to see the team in such good confidence.
I just really, really hope for them, and I know that I speak for Sharpie and Snods as well, that they do get the success that they deserve, because we're desperate for Jags to lift the trophy above his head, and hopefully it'll be this season.
It's been a great night. It's great to see the players in kind of the normal light. You forget these kind of superstars that you go and watch every weekend, that they are just normal people. So it's good seeing the human side of it all.
Really good opportunity to bring customers, enjoy a night, relaxed, and see some of the players, things that we all love about Everton.
Events like this are great. We love getting down here. We love meeting everyone. It's a good chance for us to socialise and network as well. So they're always really good dues with Everton.
Let's push your career on then, Jags. How did the move to Everton eventually, after all those years, come about?
Well, unfortunately, we got relegated as Sheffield on the last day of the season. It's still a really dark day in sort of the career, but that activated a relegation release clause, and it was quite simple, to be honest. We had to wait. There was a Tevez saga and all sorts that was going on, whether we were trying to get reinstated back into the Premier League and what was going on with that. So I had to wait for the first day of pre-season. Funnily enough, I did the first day of pre-season at Sheffield. Left Sheffield with my medical records and drove straight to Everton, did my medical, then drove up to Scotland to meet the lads. So it was a bit of a hectic first day. But I knew a couple of lads previously, AJ, Jolien, playing against them and playing with the sort of under-20s, under-21s with them. So there's a couple of friendly faces there, and as I expected it, I settled in pretty quickly. And
as a midfield player?
Yeah, pretty much initially, yeah. Probably a bit of jack of all trades, to be honest. I was trying to get their game in any position, to be perfectly honest, but say I've settled into my own position now, thankfully.
305 games later. And that's part 3 in the can for this week. Jags is hanging around for part 4, and that's when we'll start to look ahead to our very first ever league visit to Dean Court, and also, of course, our Capital One Cup quarter-final with Middlesbrough next week. Welcome back to the fourth and final part of this week's Everton Show. I had the pleasure of the company of Ramiro Mori earlier this week. The Argentinian defender was the club's official player of the month for October, and that was an accolade he was delighted to accept.
Yeah, I think it's a great achievement to win the Player of the Month. Obviously, if it wasn't for the team, that we've been getting some good results, so I'm happy to win it.
It just shows how quickly and how well you've settled into life at Everton, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think my adaptation has been great, with the squad in the Premier League. So hopefully to keep on adapting myself.
And what about the city of Liverpool as well? Have you settled into the city?
Yeah, I think it's a nice city, very calm. So it's just a little bit cloudy and rainy, but it's getting used to it. But overall, it's a great city.
It'll be like this till March now, so you'll have plenty of time to get used to it. Just on the field of play, what's it like playing alongside young John Stones?
Well, he's extremely great player. Learning from him, we're both young, so I think he's a really good player and he's doing really good.
Bournemouth at the weekend, they're near the bottom of the table, but there are no easy games in the English Premier League, are there?
Yeah, I think there's no easy game in the Premier League. You can play the teams in the bottom, they will come out and give it all their best. So I think it's going to be a tough game, and hopefully we'll win it.
Ramiro's done smashing Jags, hasn't he, since he was forced into action?
To be honest, as soon as he walked through the door, he fitted in really well. As much as he's Argentinian, he spent a lot of time in America. He speaks pretty good English, and so he was thrown in at left back at Reading and played centre half for the last bit. Did a fantastic job, and what I like most about him, he's come in and played the way he plays. He's not tried to sort of be safe and trying to, he likes to tackle, likes to head. He's a good passer of the ball. He's just come in and settled in and played his own game. Obviously, that's why we've signed him, because he's a good player. Sometimes, coming to such a good club and, such a hard league, you try to, play sort of with a handbrake on or whatever, but Ramiro's done fantastically well, and it's great that the fans have picked him for Player of the Month, just to make him settle in that little bit extra as well. And like I said, there's great times. We've been needing another centre-half to come in, and it's nice that Ramiro's come in and stepped up to the plate. Organisation is such a big part of a successful defence. How difficult would it be for you and for Tim Howard if Ramiro couldn't speak a word of English? It is difficult. You do play with people like that. You have to use arm gestures, and you just hope that people can take things on, but visually and things like that. But like I say, he speaks pretty good English. It's not a problem. He understands his name when you shout at him, so that's one of the main things. But it's part and parcel of playing, obviously, in a different country, and Ramiro's done really well to settle in so quick. Yeah, he's a great lad. Well, only 3 times in our history have we played a competitive game against Bournemouth. Once in the FA Cup in the 1930s, and then twice in the League Cup during the Lineker season of 85-86. We won all 3, and Roberto Martinez is quite naturally hoping to make it 4 out of 4 on Saturday, although he's certainly taking nothing for granted.
Bournemouth are a team that they've been very unfortunate this season. I think to get promoted in the manner that they did, that was very impressive. And you're creating a winning culture and a winning mentality, and I think that's what Bournemouth have created the last few seasons. They started in the Premier League with a real swagger and a lot of the good things that they showed in the Championship. They were starting to produce it in the Premier League. They got impressive results, none more than the victory at Upton Park against West Ham, and then they lost 2 or 3 very influential players, and that made things very difficult. But from game to game, they're very clear on what they do. They're a team with a lot of energy. They want to work extremely hard as a unit, and then they're a possession team. They're a team that they control the ball well, and they want to break teams down. So all in all, it's got the structure of a very strong team, and it's just finding their feet into this new league. When you get promoted, you get that, especially when you lost a few of the most influential players in that winning side. So on the day we'll have to be very much aware of this Bournemouth side's strengths and making sure that we keep the concentration levels and we can cope with the same physicality and the energy that they're gonna approach the game with.
In Eddie Howe, they have a manager who's cut his teeth lower down the leagues as you did yourself. What do you make of the job that Eddie's done down there?
Well, obviously to get the success that Bournemouth had and to reach promotion a little bit as a surprising pack is quite impressive. I think in the Championship you get a real strong challenge in terms of trying to get promotion, and you can always get into the lottery or the look of the playoffs. I think Bournemouth, the impressive nature of their promotion was that they were very dominant through the 10-month competition, which the Championship is an aggressive league, and you have to be able to turn around quickly from game to game. And I thought Bournemouth, their consistency in that sort of environment with their idea of the way that they want to play the game was very, very impressive.
What have you made of Bournemouth's start to the Premier League?
Well, I think they'll be frustrated. Probably that'll probably be the best word they can use. They've lost obviously the top striker. They've spent a lot of money on a left back who got injured, and a couple of key players have been out. And to be honest, every game I've seen them play, they've played some fantastic football, but unfortunately not got over the line. So I think they'll be quite frustrated, but a very dangerous team. Obviously there's a player in there, or a player or two, that we know very well. We'll be looking forward to coming up against them again. But like I say, I think they'll be a little bit frustrated. They're a very dangerous team to go and play, especially at home.
Sylvan and Dan Gosling, of course.
Yeah, obviously Sil, it'll be a strange thing for the lads to play against him. He was here for so long and part of the furniture. Dan obviously didn't play as much, but will always be remembered for scoring against Liverpool. So there'll be obviously mixed emotions there. It'd be nice to get against him, but hopefully we can get the right result.
Always nice to see old faces around the Premier League. Well, one of the oldest sayings in football is that you should always take things one game at a time. But when your game after next is a cup quarter-final, it's difficult not to get just a wee bit ahead of yourself. Championship promotion hopefuls Middlesbrough stand between the Toffees and a place in the semi-final of the Capital One Cup. And a man who knows what it's like to win silverware in the Royal Blue of Everton is tipping us to go through. This is Peter Reid.
I watched them last night, as it happens. Middlesbrough just beating QPR in the last minute, and at the Riverside they're tough. But you know, I think when you talk about getting to a final, a trophy, I think it's a really good chance. I mean, if you ask me, will Everton win up there? I think we've got a really good chance. Yeah.
And obviously can be buoyed by the fact we've played away at a couple of Football League clubs already and managed to navigate tricky ties.
Yeah. And there's a couple of lads getting fit in there. Gibson, Besic is back now. I think if knowing Roberto and how far we've gone in the competition, I think we play a really strong side there. So I've got to say I make Everton favourites, even though it will be difficult.
Doesn't surprise you the fact that we've sold 5,000 tickets for that game?
Well, the supporters are absolutely outstanding, and I think it tells you something. I think the supporters have got a little bit of smell in the nostrils, of Wembley Stadium. And once that happens, especially at Everton, I was involved in a few good cup runs many years ago. But talking to the fans, I think they fancy it. So there'll be the support up there will be absolutely outstanding, and I think it's going to be really good. They're not bad then. I know Steve Agnew is a coach there, first team coach, so it'll be well organised, disciplined, but I've just got a feeling Everton will have too much for them.
You say that the fans can smell it. Do you think the players can as well at this stage?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, this is no disrespect to Middlesbrough because they're a great club, but if you're a Premier League player and you're going up there in a quarter final and you know if you can beat them, you're in the semis, they'll know what it's all about, the players, yeah, without a doubt.
Which players have caught your eye in this season in particular?
I love McCarthy. I think he's, well, I won't do it like a midfield player, but I think he's an outstanding player. I think a lot of his work gets overlooked because he's one of them who sees things, fills holes, wins it and passes it. And I do love Lukaku as well. I think if you get the ball in the box to the big fella, he's a handful. And it's hard to pick players because, as you've got to have a balanced team, a balanced squad. But if I was going to pick two, they'd be the two.
Peter Reid knows what it's like, Jags, to play in a League Cup final for Everton and an FA Cup final and a Cup Winners' Cup final. And when he says the supporters can smell it at the quarter-final stage, are the players the same? Do you start to think about Wembley when you get to the quarter-final stage?
I think you have to. I think, you know, looking forward, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but, you know, it's the if, buts and maybe sort of come in. A little bit different, obviously, to league competitions. But, you know, the lads will be desperate to go as far as we can. We've improved from sort of the last couple of seasons, which has been a good thing for confidence. But, you know, this is where it starts to get interesting, doesn't it? Tough away trip, Tuesday night against Middlesbrough, but, you know, hopefully we'll go there, put a good performance on again, not go 1-0 down like we normally do this season in the Cup, and, you know, put our name in the hat for the next round. And that's obviously when the proper excitement starts, and, you know, everyone will be desperate to watch the draw and sort of make sure that we get a decent team.
Beautifully summed up as well. Championship promotion hopefuls, and Reid said, they're not bad them. And he's right. Well, a first ever league visit to Bournemouth and a Capital One Cup quarter-final. There's certainly an exciting week ahead for Evertonians to hopefully enjoy. It's been an absolute pleasure to have the company of Phil Jagielka alongside me on this week's Everton Show. I'm sure you've enjoyed it too. My thanks as well to all of you for tuning in, and please do join us again next week. Same time, same place. We'll see you then.